The Hauntings of Leeds Library, a true tale from England's oldest library. Leeds Library, founded in 1768, is the oldest surviving subscription library in the UK, standing proudly in the heart of Leeds with its towering shelves and elegant Georgian architecture, known for its vast collection of rare books and manuscripts. This historical landmark also has a chilling reputation for ghostly encounters and unexplained phenomena. Staff members and visitors alike have recounted eerie tales of apparitions, whispered voices, and even mysterious cold spots within its hallowed walls. For over 2 centuries, Leeds Library has been a haven for knowledge, and it seems a sanctuary for restless spirits. One of the most persistent legends of Leeds Library is that of the Phantom Librarian, a spectre said to roam the aisles after dark. Though descriptions vary, many believe this apparition is a former librarian who died suddenly in the library in the early 19th century. Records of this person's death are murky, but there are hints in old archival notes that a young librarian passed away unexpectedly under mysterious circumstances. According to legend, this librarian is bound to the library even in death, devoted to guarding its rare collections. Late at night, staff members and night guards are reported seeing a shadowy figure drifting between the aisles, seemingly lost in thought. Witnesses describe a slight chill in the air whenever the librarian's spirit is near, and some say they've heard the faint rustle of pages being turned, even when no one else is present. One former employee claims that while she was up closing up, she saw the librarian's apparition standing by a shelf of rare manuscripts, glancing up as if caught mid-task before vanishing into thin air. An unusual phenomenon reported by both visitors and staff involves books inexplicably disappearing, only to reappear days or even weeks later. While a misplacement could be chalked up to human error, these books often vanish from locked display cases or shelves that no one has touched. Many librarians have reported retrieving a specific book for a patron, only to return to the shelf later and find it mysteriously absent. Days later, the book will reappear in the exact place it was last seen, sometimes even open to a different page. One of the most famous instances involved in an old text on local folklore that kept vanishing from its shelf over a series of months. A historian researching Leeds legends requested the book several times, but each time the staff attempted to retrieve it, the book was gone, only to reappear hours after he left. When the book was finally located, it was open to a passage detailing the tragic story of a young bookbinder who had died under mysterious circumstances within the library. The staff could never explain the book's repeated disappearance and reappearance, leading many to believe the spirit of the bookbinder may be reclaiming the library as its own. The Georgian Room, known for its grand windows and intricate woodwork, is one of the library's most beloved spaces, but it's also home to one of the most disturbing paranormal tales. Near a large bay window, visitors often report feeling an intense, unshakable cold, an unnatural chill that seeps into their bones regardless of the season. This cold spot is a place of particular unease, where patrons often feel as if they're being watched by something unseen. A former librarian who worked at Leeds Library in the 1970s spoke of a recurring experience she had in this room. While shelving books near the window, she would feel a sudden drop in temperature and an overwhelming feeling that someone was standing just beside her. She would turn to see nothing, but each time the cold sensation lingered. Once, as she reached for a book, she felt a distinct hand on her shoulder, but when she looked, there was no one there. She eventually refused to work in the Georgian Room alone after dark, and to this day, some patrons report similar unnerving sensations when they sit or read in this part of the library. Down in the library's archives, where hundreds of fragile centuries-old manuscripts are stored, staff members frequently report hearing whispered voices and muffled conversations that seem to float just beyond their range of hearing. These voices are most often heard when the room is quiet and empty, creating an eerie atmosphere that has unnerved even the most skeptical employees. One archivist reported hearing what sounded like a heated conversation between two people while she was alone in the room cataloguing books. She described it as a low, urgent exchange with voices speaking quickly and fervently, as if arguing. She attempted to follow the sound but found nothing. After a moment, the voices simply stopped, leaving the room in silence. She later discovered that, decades earlier, a dispute had erupted between two of the library's founders regarding its rare book collection, a bitter disagreement that many say was never truly resolved. One of the most unnerving ghostly tales associated with Leeds Library involves a shadowy figure seen on the grand staircase, an apparition believed to be a former patron who had a tragic end. In the late 19th century, a young man known to be an avid reader and frequent visitor to the library passed away under mysterious circumstances shortly after a series of misfortunes. Rumour has it that he spent his final days in the library, unable to cope with his losses, and eventually died in an accident near the premises. Since then, staff and patrons have occasionally reported seeing a figure lingering on the staircase, dressed in 19th century clothing, his gaze fixed on the floor as if to be lost in despair. Several years ago, a woman visiting the library's special collections found herself alone on the staircase late one afternoon. She felt a prickling sensation on her neck and turned to see a man in old-fashioned clothing standing halfway up the stairs. His head was bowed and his figure seemed somehow faded, almost translucent. Startled, she blinked and he vanished. Haunted by the encounter, she later told staff what she had seen, only to learn that her description matched that of the figure seen by several others in the past. Despite these ghostly tales, Leeds Library remains a cherished spot for readers, historians, and visitors alike. The stories have only added to its mystique, drawing those fascinated by both its historical and paranormal legacies. Some visitors come hoping for a glimpse of the phantom librarian, or a chill from the cold spot in the Georgian room. Others spend time in the archives listening for whispers from a bygone era. Whether it's the phantom librarian, the vanishing books, or the mysterious cold spots, Leeds Library is a place where the past feels unusually close, as though the spirits of long gone patrons and staff still remain, forever bound to the shelves and staircases that make up this beloved institution. The library, like the knowledge it preserves, seems to hold on to the lives of those who cherished it, inviting the brave or curious to uncover the secrets within its walls.